Don't know if anyone's joined yet. Right, I think this is working now. Just waiting for a few people to come in. Right, we've got a few people joining now. Welcome Daniel, welcome Alice, welcome Mo. Yeah, that's right Daniel, student accommodation. Nice to see you too, Alice. Right, so Daniel asked a question on the post, am I planning on doing private label? Yeah, in the future at some point I'm planning on doing private label. It's more a case of I don't know when I'm doing private label. I don't want to be doing too many things at once. I've got a few things that I'm working on at the moment. Once I'm feeling a bit more comfortable with those things, then I can start heading towards private label. At the moment I'm focusing on OA, RA, so for those who don't know, that's online arbitrage, retail arbitrage, and then once I've cracked those a bit more, I'm starting to get a few wholesale contacts. I'm speaking to a few contacts that I made at the spring fair, and then from there, then potentially private label. There's also a few non-Amazon things, so I'm working on a bit of affiliate marketing, working on this group, those sort of things. So private label, yeah, I think maybe 12 months down the line, ideally look to do that, but for now it's just smashing out Amazon really. Nice to see you, Marion. Hope I pronounced that right. Yeah, keep the questions coming in, guys. I'm just going to be answering sort of whatever you guys want me to talk about, really. I think, yeah, I've been pretty busy the last couple of weeks. Had the 21st last weekend, so, well, last week and then throughout the weekend. Hey, Taye, nice to see you. Yeah, sorry if I'm looking back and forth. My webcam wasn't working, so I've got comments up on my laptop and sort of chatting on my phone. Nice to see you, Seb. I see Seb's in the chat. I had a meeting with Seb on last Thursday. Seb does some marketing stuff, and I'm actually going to be getting him on here doing a live in about a month's time, and he'll tell you about some sort of interesting marketing that kind of goes unspoken. It's not really your traditional marketing format, so that'll be cool. Alice asks, do I like the affiliate course? Is it worth it to buy it? So for those who don't know, I'm currently doing a affiliate marketing course by Franklin Hatchett. It's called Savage Affiliates, and I actually plan on doing a in-detailed review of that course. I'm currently working through it. There's a ton of content, so I'm getting through that, and then once I've done it, I'll put out a review. But first impressions have been really good. A lot of good content there. Once I've gone through it, I'll be putting out a full review. It covers a lot of different types of affiliate marketing, building audience. Yeah, it's great so far, but I haven't gone through it fully yet. Once I have, then I'll do a review. Right, yeah, just keep the comments coming in, and I'll just keep answering your questions. What have you guys been up to this week, business-wise and personal? I think sort of on the private label thing that Dan mentioned, I do think it's a good idea to diversify and build up a few different income streams. The nice thing about private label is that although it is potentially predominantly still Amazon, it's different, so you can set up a separate Amazon account, have a separate business for that, and that mitigates some risk. If one of your Amazon accounts gets suspended or whatever, you've still got that private label income stream coming in. With us private label, you can also have that outside of Amazon. You can be selling on your own website to wherever brick and mortar stores, even becoming a vendor for Amazon. So yeah, I think that's good in that sense. Alice asked, how was my February sales? Been going well so far, Alice. I can actually get Amazon Seller Central up and check out my orders for February. How are your February sales, Alice, while I get these up? So, last 30 days, not just February, but last 30 days, I've done £11,500. So that includes EU. And then hopefully I will have made about 15% margin on that. I haven't done the profit calcs yet, but so I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, Q1 traditionally pretty slow selling, so yeah, pretty cool. Slow. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not really November or December, so it is what it is. But yeah, no, February's pretty cool. 11.5 grand. I'm happy with that. Just going on into March now. Yeah. Cheers, Mo. Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, in February. So I mean, I was doing about 10 to 12k a month, November and December, and then expecting it to kind of go down from there. But I think with that capital that I've generated, I've just reinvested it all, and now January I did, I think, 11k, 11.5 in Feb, and I think that'll continue into March and so on. Which has actually led me to a bit of a dilemma, because I've now got to go and I've got to get a company formed soon and then get VAT registered. How many replenishables? Not as many as I'd like. Replenishables are great, especially with OA. The one thing I'm working towards, I've mentioned the wholesale contacts that I met at the spring fair. So with them, I'm hoping that I find products where I can source maybe 50 to 100 units instead of just 10 to 20. With OA, RA, you're often finding yourself sourcing 1 to 20 units, and so I'm looking at going into wholesale, finding 50, 100 of products, and then that will not necessarily be replenishable, but I mean a lot less time sourcing products for a bit of profit, whereas with wholesale you buy 50, 100 units and it's less time finding those products and easy to manage, fewer SKUs. But replenishables currently, it's hard to say exactly because it depends what you consider as a replenishable. I check every week. I go through my orders, and then I'll have a look and see if I can find any items that I can replenish. I don't necessarily have items that I replenish every week, and if I do, they might be replenishable 1 week, and then a month later they're not replenishable. A month later they're replenishable again. So it's not a great answer, but in truth, I don't have items that I replenish week in, week out, unfortunately. I think that's the nature with OA. It works for a couple of months, then the item doesn't work anymore. But yeah, I just make the most of it when I can. But I'm hoping that'll change going forward. A few more comments here. Sorry, I'm just going through them on my laptop. Am I purely sourcing using TA? No, so I don't actually currently have a TA subscription at the moment because I don't think I need it right now, just capital wise and what I was getting out of it. But I have had a TA subscription most of the time. I've been doing OA, and what I was doing is getting my brother, who works for me, to scan using TA. He'd find items which I'd then go through, so similar to using a VA, I guess. I recommend TA though, it's great. You can get a free trial if you haven't tried it already, but I predominantly use OAD, which is online arbitrage deals. And then there's actually a beta service from Thomas Parkinson coming out called Fast Track FBA, so keep a lookout for that. I've been finding some great products there which I've been using. And then also replenishables, as you mentioned, I check on a weekly basis. Every Sunday I'll go through my orders and look for items I can replenish. And then when I do have TA, what I'll do is I'll reverse search my list of products. So I have a buy sheet and a sheet of potential products. I'll take all those ASINs and then reverse search them with TA. With TA, didn't actually do that much sort of traditional scanning. I try and reverse search a lot because I think you find a lot more products that way. But yeah, I think with OA, the one thing I touched on is key is that products come in and out of stock, so not necessarily stock as well. Sometimes they're deals, sometimes they're not. So if you can buy something one month, you may not be able to buy it the next month, but then the month after that you could buy it again. So it's staying on top of that and checking the items that you've already found. Hope that makes sense. But yeah, I don't rely on TA, although you could do because it's a great piece of software. But I also use OAD, which is Online Arbitrage Deals by Karen Hudson, and then Replenishables and Fast Track FBA, which is a beta service by Thomas Parkinson, which is coming out. Michael commented on the load of drinks on the shelf. Yeah, yeah, nice selection. Daniel asks if I've registered for VAT yet. No, not yet. So for those who don't know, the VAT threshold in the UK is 85k on a 12-month rolling basis. So I'm at 55k now, and that's in just under 6 months. So I'll have to register for it at some point, but there's a way around it where if you register so I'm currently a sole trader. If I register and form a company, so a limited liability company, then the VAT threshold resets because I'm then a separate legal entity. As a sole trader, the business and you are sort of the same thing. As a limited liability company, you are a separate legal entity, if that makes sense. So I don't want to get into too much details, and yeah, don't just take my advice, speak to an accountant first just to check. But basically, if you get to about 80k as a sole trader and then register as a limited liability company, you can then get to 85k again before you have to register register for VAT. So I will have to register for VAT at some point, but luckily for now it's not something that I'm worrying about. Yeah, I think there are a few more comments here. Sorry if I've missed any, just ask again. Does Mark do your books? No, Mark doesn't, although I've heard great things from him. I study accounting and finance myself at university, and I did a placement and accounting firm. So I do a lot of the sort of general bookkeeping myself, but then I've got a contact, basically the place I did a placement at. They do my accounts for me for pretty cheap. I mean, I just go, they sort of said I can go and sit in there, do my whatever I need to do, and they'll just check over it. So I guess that helps. But yeah, for those who are looking for someone, I've only heard good things about Mark. So yeah, if anyone needs an accountant, I'd go and speak to him. I think, yeah, a lot of things though, you can look up yourself and research yourself. It's just mainly getting that final clarification. But I think as you start scaling up, definitely an accountant's something you should definitely have, because the money that they'll save you will dwarf the fees that they charge. Just make sure you shop around and get yourself a good deal though. I don't know if I missed any questions. They're not all showing up. I can try and scroll here. Okay. Mo asks, what was your initial startup capital? Difficult question. I didn't have a initial capital really. I had about 1,500 quid in my bank account, which I used. I started with that, but that very quickly scaled up. It's not like I just went, okay, I've got X amount of cash, I'm going to go and invest all that, and then that's that. I invested that 1,500 cash. I then went and got a loan for 4 grand. I got a credit card for another 1,500 quid. And then, well, it was actually 450 quid at first, but now they've increased my credit limit to 1,500, which is great. And then I also, about a month later, joined PayPal Credit, which is 4k. So yeah, I didn't really have an exact initial capital to start up with. I invested bits and bobs and got loans here and there. I don't think there's a specific number you need. Obviously for OA, RA, you can use less capital to get started than if you're doing PL, wholesale, for example. And if you're doing something like affiliate marketing, you can definitely get started with very little capital. But I think for OA and RA, it's just a case of the more you have, the better, because you can scale up more quickly. The more money you invest, the more profit you're going to get if you're doing it right. But no, you don't need... I didn't have a specific initial startup capital because I just kept getting more and more capital until I got to the point where I was happy. Yeah. Right, let's have a look. Any more questions? Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Cheers, Steve. Hello, Amar. Hello, Luke. Cheers, Alice. Does anyone have any more questions? Doesn't have to be about Amazon. It can be about general business, personal stuff, whatever. Yeah, I think I've been a bit quiet. I've had a bit of a busy couple of weeks. It was my 21st last week. Well, yeah, 20th of February, so that's a Wednesday and a bit ago. So I sort of made that into about a week sort of thing. Went out a few times, did a few different things. Went go-karting, did some VR stuff. Went to the pub, did all sorts. So been a bit busy with that. Managed to break a finger as well playing hockey, which was fun. But yeah, that'll make prepping interesting on Friday. Alice asked, what is your return level? So do you mean percentage of items returned, Alice? And just, yeah, let me know. Do you mean like what percentage of items I get returned? Hi, Neil. Marion asks, personal question, what did you do with your fingers? Oh, yeah, there. I broke that finger playing hockey. Got hit by a hockey stick. So yeah, I've got to go home and prep this Friday. I do prep at Friday, so that's going to make it interesting. Daniel says he was busy equals hangover. Yeah, I won't deny it. I was hungover quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. Steve says, any opinions on FBA Wizard over tactical arbitrage? To be honest, Steve, I only ever used the FBA Wizard free trial. When I first got started, I mean, I've said this a few times, but I think it's good advice for anyone starting out. You can use the FBA Wizard free trial, tactical arbitrage free trial, the Source Mogul free trial, and then do a bit of sort of copy and paste stuff, and that'll take you up to a month. Go do all those and then decide what works best for you. Honestly, I think, without getting into too much detail, FBA Wizard's a case of it's probably a bit easier to use but less powerful. Tactical arbitrage takes a while to get going, but there's so many awesome features with it. I mean, yeah, it's amazing. I haven't even begun to sort of go through all of its options, but I love tactical arbitrage, especially with, you can set up notifications, for example, when an item returns in stock at a price you want. That's awesome for sourcing. And then reverse searching's awesome, and then even just the standard searching's pretty good. I'd say with tactical arbitrage, it is pretty time consuming. It takes a while to get used to, though. I hope that helps, Steve. Let me know if you've got any more questions on that. Amar says, congratulations on your success. Thanks, mate. Really inspiring to see a young entrepreneur succeed. Cheers, buddy. Appreciate it. Alice says, right. Yep. Broke his finger playing hockey. I don't know what you mean, Daniel. What else do you think I was doing? Gotta go now, Mary. Alright, cheers, mate. Good to see you too. Mo says, awesome, maybe you could do a video on getting started. Think there's a lot involved. Yep, I've got one lined up. If there's anything you're not sure on, drop me a message or put it in the group, because I'm trying to put together a sort of a video series going from very basic to covering terms like what is FBA, all the way up to not advanced but a bit more intermediate stuff, so maybe managing Seller Central, what you should be doing on a weekly, daily basis, that sort of thing. So if you've got any questions, anything you want included in those videos, then let me know. That would be great. And I'm going to get that put together. Steve says, I would agree, Wizard is very straightforward to use. It's had a decent facelift over the past few months. Yeah, I agree, Steve. I mean, when I used it, it was back in August, September, and it was alright then. I think, yeah, it was pretty good back then, and then obviously the owner sort of went away for a bit, and I think he left people a bit in the dark, and a lot of people were unhappy, but it seems now the last couple of months or so, he's put a lot back into it, and he seems to be doing a pretty good job. So, being honest, I'm not the most up-to-date on it. I can't really compliment, but all I'd say is if you haven't used your free trial, then it would make sense to go ahead and do that. I mean, what have you got to lose? A bit of time, give it a play around. It might work for you, it might not. Yeah. Steve says, how do I get paid for Euro markets? Yeah, good question. So, from what I can tell, there's two main options here. Well, I'll go over what's, I think, so Steve means, obviously for those who don't know, when you sell, for those who sell in the UK, a lot of you will sell in France, Germany, Spain and Italy automatically using the European fulfillment network. And so obviously you receive your money in euros for those sales. Amazon can pay that straight into your bank account, but they offer a really bad conversion rate. So there's two main options that I'm aware of for this. One is TransferWise, which I don't use, but I see a lot of people using. So that's one good option, but I use Currencies Direct, and they've been great for me. I don't think they're the best rate. I think TransferWise is slightly better, but in all honesty, maybe it's a bit of laziness, but I set up with Currencies Direct, and they've been great, so I've used them. I've never had a problem. I mean, I get calls from them checking up, making sure everything's fine. I've set it up, everything I've set up worked well. I've set it up so it's automatically getting paid into my account. I've changed it so that I can pay into my account when I receive it. Every 2 weeks, the money gets sent to my Currencies Direct account. It can then either automatically get sent to my bank account, or I can go and send it to my bank account. And yeah, it's great. But I think the other option is TransferWise, which Daniel's just said, and I see a lot of people using that. So go for it, yeah. But I think go check out the rates for both of them, whichever's better. Then go for it, because they're both good. From what I can tell, Currencies Direct worked awesomely for me, and TransferWise worked awesomely for other people. So whichever you go for, I think will be fine. But just don't use Amazon, because they'll rip you off with the rates. Yeah. Anyone else got any other questions? I'm not in a rush to go anywhere, so if any of you got any questions, can be about whatever. Yeah, I think one thing which is, I made a post about it the other day, which is about entrepreneurship being overly glamorized, and I think this is an interesting topic for me anyway, because I personally think I've always kind of been into business. I ran a second-hand shop when I was 11 in school. I just enjoyed business, but I think a lot of people see it as, I mean, you look at people on Instagram now and they've got entrepreneur in their bio or whatever, and it's some flashy sort of status symbol, and people look at it as sort of make money quick. You see all their marketing, Facebook ads and stuff that promise you X amount of money or whatever. And in that sense, I think it is glamorized, and it's dangerous because people are getting into it for the wrong reasons. But at the same time, I love it. So yeah, it's good, but it is hard work. I don't know, what are your guys' thoughts on it? Do you think it's glamorized? Do you think that's a problem? I guess my only worry is that people get into it for the wrong reasons and then lose money or don't make money and get disheartened, and then that can lead on to mental issues. But yeah, I'm interested here. Does anyone follow Steve Bartlett? No particular reason, I'm just curious. I like a lot of the content he puts out, and he talks a lot about these sort of things. But yeah, if anyone else has got any other questions, feel free. If anyone's got any video suggestions as well, that's good. Mo mentioned the beginner guide for Amazon. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm just talking to myself. Yeah. If not, then I mean, we can always end it there. Let me just check I've not missed anything in the comments. I think I've answered most of them. Yeah. Okay, I think there's a bit of a lag on the comments. Yeah, so Daniel says he follows Steve as well. Yeah, Daniel actually introduced me to Steve Bartlett. So he's a CEO of a marketing agency based in Manchester, and he puts out a lot of sort of thought-provoking content. I don't necessarily agree with everything he talks about, but a lot of it's really interesting and thought-provoking, so I like it in that sense. Another one's Gary Vaynerchuk, who I listen to a lot. Yeah. Okay, yeah, Daniel's saying that the comments, there's a bit of a time delay on them. Let's see, sorry, I'm just scrolling through the comments. Mo asks, how's uni going? Okay, cool, yeah, I'll give a bit of a background. So, for those who don't know, I'm a second year accounting and finance student. I'm a year older than most, as I took a gap year. I went to Oz and had some fun there. Yeah, uni's going well. It's a bit of a weird one for me because obviously with the business, that's my drive. I love it, and I'm at uni, and my goal is to be at a stage where by the time I finish uni, I've got enough money and financial security to not have to go into employment. And I feel like that's a bit ironic because generally people go to university to sort of make themselves employable, but there's so much to uni in terms of networking, the social side of it, and skills learned. There's a good entrepreneurship section in the university as well, so it's going well. I'm meeting with one of the business advisors at the university on Wednesday. I've utilised their solicitor once when I had a wholesale problem, and they've got an accountant there as well. So, I mean, the university, it's useful and it's going well. I guess it's just a case of it's hard to have that motivation when there's entrepreneurship side to it as well. Yeah, Daniel says drinking. Yeah, drinking's going well. The social side's going well. I play cricket and hockey at uni, so the social side's going well. Business side's going well. And yeah, the course itself, well, it's not necessarily what I want to be doing. It's useful. I do accounting and finance for my degree, so that kind of thing is useful. Yeah, it's going pretty well. I mean, at the end of the day, I enjoy it. And for those who don't know, I think a lot of people know, but I'm actually studying in the USA next year. I'm going to South Carolina, and I'm doing some marketing there. And I wouldn't be doing that if it wasn't for university. So, I mean, that's pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, it's going well. I enjoy it. There's ups and downs as to there is with anything. I think it's all just about the balance, really. I'm cracking on with business, the social side of it, and then the academic side as well. Let me just see comments here. Hey, Darren. Let's see. Steve asks, what's next for you after Amazon? After Amazon, I hope there's no after Amazon for the foreseeable future. I'm more looking alongside Amazon. So for me, Amazon is a long-term thing. I think OA maybe not long-term. I'd hope to move more wholesale PL in the future, but wholesale's near future. I'm hoping to get some contacts set up pretty soon. Speaking to a few people tomorrow that I met at the Spring Fair. PL, as I talked about earlier, is going to take a bit longer, but I don't see Amazon ever really going out of the picture. At least I hope not anyway. In terms of alongside Amazon, I'm doing affiliate marketing stuff. So as I mentioned, I'm doing a course by Franklin Hatchett, which I'll be doing a review on. That's going pretty well. I'm busy setting up a website now, which I'm doing a ClickBank product review of. I'm going to be doing a bit of Amazon associate stuff, mainly just free traffic at the moment to get the hang of it, and then I'm looking to do some paid traffic going forward. But yeah, that's all alongside Amazon. And then I want to go into a few other things. I'm not really sure yet, but for me, it's not doing too many things at once. I'd rather sort of focus on a couple of things, sort of get good at them, or I don't want to say master because it's hard to master something. You don't really need to be a master of it, but yeah, get some income stream set up and then move on to other things, as opposed to just trying a load of things at once and seeing what works. Because I think it's a good quote. It's don't drop the pie reaching for the apples. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's my philosophy anyway. Hope that makes sense, Steve. Thanks, Alice. Cheers, Mo. Hey, Emma. Matt asks, do you think the current lot of OA YouTubers give a realistic expectation for newbies starting OA? I find it really frustrating seeing noobs making silly mistakes in the groups. I don't know if there's more to that comment because it's got like an ellipsis, but I think that's it. I'll try and see on my computer. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I see exactly what you're saying. And this was actually... It's interesting you say this because obviously I started out relatively recently. I mean, I only made my first sale in August. Obviously, I've scaled quite quickly from there. But I know exactly what you mean. I think it's the same with a lot of business models because a lot of these YouTubers are trying to sell something. So they are, at least this is my opinion, they are going, oh, here's this great business model, anyone can do it, you don't need much money, you're going to make all this money, you don't need to do a few hours a week or whatever. And yeah, it's not really realistic. I try and go into a lot of nitty gritty and details and delve into that because when I was starting out, there was a lot of the basics that are covered, and it's like, okay, you go and buy a product using this software, you go and sell it, this is this consideration. But then when I made my first sale and I made it in Europe, I was like, what the hell is this? I didn't realize I could sell to Germany. So it's making people aware of those small things that really make a big impact, like account health, that sort of stuff, and not, as you said, promising people new to the scene false hopes. And that's kind of, I guess, what talks about entrepreneurship being overly glamorized a bit. I suppose it is different, but you get, as you said, a lot of YouTubers sort of selling this dream, making it out to be a lot easier than it is. Not that it's the most difficult business model in the world, but it still requires a lot of effort and experience. You learn, well, at least for me anyway, I've learned so much as I've gone along, and that's made it easier, but it's that initial grind. So yeah, I agree with you, and I think the reason why people are doing it is because they're selling stuff. I try and give a balanced picture. I hope I come across that way. I do promote OA because I think it is a good business model, but I'm realistic with people, and that I'll be honest and say it is going to require time and effort. But yeah, I can see what you mean, and it is frustrating, but I think that's just the way the world works, unfortunately, and it's the same not just with OA, but a lot of business models. I mean, how many times do you see, well, at least I do, a Facebook ad where it's like, oh yeah, buy this or download this free guide to da-di-da-di-da, then you pay $97 for a course, and then there's an upsell for $1,000, and they're basically just telling you to do what they've just done, kind of thing. So it is frustrating. Matt, yeah, I am planning on doing a bit of arbitrage. I'm looking into that. I'm speaking to a lawyer over there about getting an LLC set up. I'm trying to speak to Al a bit as well, because obviously he's moving there, so he's got a bit of experience in the US. It's just, yeah, making sure I can do what I plan on doing. I'm also going to be, because I'm at uni there, I'm going to be living at a halls of residence, well, like flat type of thing, so I'll need to use a prep centre. And obviously it's different to the UK as well, so I'm going to try and do it. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. The plan is to do it, but yeah, I'll see. Because I mean, ideally, the ideal situation would be that I get set up in the US, get a bit of experience, and then I can make a long-term thing. I'd love to be able to sell on the .com market as well, even if I'm based in the UK. I think there's obviously a lot of potential in the .com market. But yeah, I don't know if we've got anyone from the US here. Probably a bit early for you guys, probably still in work. But it's definitely one thing I'm looking into. I think that the most difficult thing will be in the US is keeping operations going in the UK. I was actually speaking to Darren Smith, if any of you guys know him, about how I'm going to go about prepping and stuff while I'm in the US, and it's just being prepared really. But no, I'm looking forward to it. Let me just check if I missed any comments. I think that's about it. Okay, so Matt asked about my experience with the spring fair. Yeah, I'd say definitely worth my time. I think it's a bit different for me to most people because I sort of went there with the attitude of not expecting much at all. I didn't expect to make any contacts or anything. I went there mainly to try and meet people, and I met a few people from the group, from other groups who I've known for a long time. So that was awesome, meeting people in real life that I've only known from Facebook, and in that sense it was worth it for me just then. But in terms of more business, yeah, it was good. I only went for the one day. On reflection, probably should have gone 2. There is so much there, and yeah, it was worth it, definitely. I think you've got to go in with a plan. It's very easy to get lost. It's a big place, and I actually managed to. I forgot where I had parked, so that was fun. That kind of illustrates how big it is. I think there's like 16,500 parking spaces or something. But yeah, I don't know how to sum it up, because I'll say yeah, it's worth it. I've made a few wholesale contacts, and you think even if I get 5 products that I can sell 20 or 30 a month, then it's more than paid for the trip there. And I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, Spring Fair definitely worth it. Met some great people. Even just from a confidence point of view, it's weird going around and speaking to all these people from wholesalers, distributors or whatever, and some of them were pretty blunt about what they thought about Amazon sellers. I mean, yeah, some weren't too kind, but then as well, I've made some great contacts, and I mean, I can't really talk about any success stories yet because I'm still in the process of speaking to them and hopefully getting some deals in place. But I think for any of those people who are on the fence, who are thinking about it, then go. I think what sort of have you got to lose kind of thing. If you're doing full-time work, sure, it's a bit more difficult. But if you go in there with a plan, doing your research beforehand, speaking to these people, and even if you're just getting ideas, like if you're considering a PL product and you go around, and see all these thousands of products. I mean, some of the stuff there were crazy. Here's some of the stuff like Alva Movie, like holograms and those sort of things. And even just, it was an enjoyable day. I mean, it was a long day, and it was difficult at times speaking to some of these people, but it was enjoyable. And hopefully some of the wholesale contacts will make me a lot of money. So in that sense, yeah, definitely worth it. But I think if anyone is going to something similar, be prepared. Because if you're not prepared, there's so much you can do. You've got to make the most out of the day. I wasn't very prepared at all, and in that sense I didn't get as much, well, I wouldn't say as I'd like, because I didn't really expect much, but I didn't really get that much from it in that sense. But yeah, it was a great insight into what those type of things are like. And then next year when I go to another one of these events, then I'll be a lot more prepared, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it now. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. Hey Curtis. Steve says water in a Stella glass is just wrong. Yeah, I mean, student life for you. Take what I can get. It's not even my glass actually, it's one of my housemates, but we just share stuff anyway. Daniel says there's not water. Ah, damn, you got me. Yeah, I think you can kind of see in the background there. No, it is water. What is the bluntest response? Yeah, so I went up to this group of old guys sort of sitting there, introduced myself, and my approach was to kind of just get to the point. So I was like, hey guys, sort of, what's your opinion on Amazon sellers? I'm not going to, like, some people try and work around it and then sneak it in once they built a bit of a repertoire. But I just went, kind of, what is it? And then one guy turned to the other guy and goes, what do we think about Amazon sellers? And says something on the lines of, like, I wouldn't spit on them if they're on fire. Something along those sort of lines. So, I mean, yeah. I mean, I can kind of understand it, because I think they have a lot of problems with Amazon sellers driving down the price of their products. It's actually, there's something about this in the book, The 4-Hour Work Week, which was really interesting. It talks about how that's kind of an issue if you're a supplier or whatever and you're selling products and the price is getting drive down. Then if you think about it, if you're selling something for $20 to a retailer and they're retailing for 50, if you have another retailer then go 45 and it drives the price down to say 30, then these retailers are going to go back to the supplier and go, oh, we're not making any profit, we want to buy it for a cheaper price, and the supplier is not going to make any money on that. So I guess, yeah, I can kind of get where they're coming from, but it's at the end of the day, like, not just me, but I'd rather not make enemies I mean, it's funny now, but at the same time, going to those sort of people and hearing that is a bit like, oh, okay then, kind of thing. So, yeah, a lot of them were nice about it. They're just like, yeah, I mean, we don't sell to Amazon sellers. I still had a chat to them, asked them about what they did. And even in that sense, I mean, even if I wasn't making a business relationship with someone, I was still learning about what they did and how the world of business sort of works, how to approach those sort of conversations, what works, what doesn't. So in that sense, I think, yeah, it was a great experience, but yeah, not for the faint-hearted in some respects. Mo asks, could you talk about a little bit about the expense involved on a monthly basis? Yeah, so you listed out a few things there. So obviously Amazon Central, you've got your 30 quid fees. I mean, you don't even really see that going in and out of your account once you start selling, because it's obviously deducted. You've got your referral fee on sale, so that's 15% plus VAT, so it's effectively 18% if you're not VAT registered. So that's referral fee is what it is. It's when you sell a product you get charged that. And I think it might be slightly different for books and DVDs off the top of my head, but I'm not 100% sure. I just use BuyBot Pro pretty much, and that tells me a breakdown of all the fees. If you're doing FBA, you've got the fulfillment fees, so that's not a fixed percentage. That'll depend on the size, weight of the product or whatever. So if you've got an expensive product, it's not as big an impact, but if you've got a cheap product, you're obviously not going to be selling something that's big and heavy, because the fulfillment fee is going to eat up all your profit. Other fees on Amazon, you've got sending stock into Amazon, so that goes to UPS, but you pay to Amazon. You've got fees for like removals of stock, so if you've got suspended inventory and you want to remove that. Storage fees. I don't know, storage fees, I feel like they're pretty negligible in the long run, because if you've got an item, you send it in and it's moving, then the storage fees aren't that much. I think long-term storage fees were 6 months. I think they've now changed to 12 months, so that's the main thing you've got to be careful of. But yeah, Amazon fees aren't really that significant, because they're linear in a respect, in terms of, if you sell a lot, you're going to be paying more fees, but that's because you're selling a lot. Like, if you sell £1 million worth of stock and you're paying 200k in fees, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Whereas if you're only selling £1,000 worth of stock and you're paying 200 quid in fees, you're paying less fees, but you're making less money. I hope that makes sense anyway. OAD, I think I pay about 85 quid a month off the top of my head. I'm not sure exactly. I need to check that. But yeah, BuyBot Pro is like 25-30 quid. And the thing with these things is they're not variable. So the basic financial have fixed costs, which don't really vary with your output. So OAD, yeah, you can get more subscriptions, but you're pretty much going to be paying the same thing whether you sell 1 unit or you sell 1,000 units a month. So I don't really worry about that, if that makes sense, because I'm paying for that regardless of whether I sell 1 unit or 1,000. So variable costs are kind of a bit more important when I'm considering and buying a product. I've got to look at the variable costs because they're going to change. But my fixed costs, like OAD subscription, if I sell 1 unit, that's not going to change. BuyBot Pro, it's not going to change. But yeah, I use OAD, BuyBot Pro. I have been using Tactical Arbitrage. I'm looking at getting onto, what's it called? Yeah, Sellerboard. I think there's a 2-month free trial, so I'm looking at doing that and going from there. Reprice it as well. I mean, these things add up, but if you start scaling and they save you time, then it's worthwhile. Or if they can, like with Sellerboard, if I pay, I don't know what it is a month, I haven't looked yet, I'm going to do the free trial, but if I'm paying 100 quid a month and it can save me 200, 300 pounds in time, or telling me identifying a profitable or non-profitable item, that sort of thing, then it's worthwhile. Same with like accounting fees. If you're paying for an accountant and they save you more money than you're spending, then obviously it's worthwhile. And also with accountants, you've got to consider the legal impacts as well. Shipping charges, yeah. Storage fees are kind of mentioned. Storage fees to me pretty negligible. I mean, just got to be careful long term, which is now I think 12 months. Shipping charges is around £5 a box. Again, like, unless you've got an item that's massive and taking up your whole box, it doesn't really matter that much. I factor it in, so on BuyBot Pro, which I use, there's settings in there which you can change, and I'll do a video on BuyBot Pro if people want. But you can change the settings, and so you can put in, say, 50p a kilogram or whatever. Yeah, I guess fees are what they are. You just got to manage them and make sure you're making a profit. Like just checking, yeah, as long as you're factoring into your calculation, then you're making a profit, then you're fine. Obviously another one's refunds. It's not a fee, but it's an expense in terms of dealing with refunds, so factor those in. Obviously if it's got 100 reviews and it's 2-star, then you're probably going to be getting some refunds. So think about that. If you've got a listing which is an assortment, people are going to be getting an item which they don't want, they're going to be returning it, so factor that in. A lot of the refunds is common sense to an extent, intuition. Like obviously you're not going to know the exact rate, but if an item's electrical, probably a bit higher return percentage as well. Yeah. But just factor them all in is all I can say. I hope that helps. If you've got any more questions, Mo, let me know. Alice asked, do you have a problem with product page changes? Yes. Yeah. I'll post a... Let me make a note. Sorry, I'm just finding my pen. I'll do a post about that because there is some software, and I think there's a website that can notify you if something changes, but it's difficult because it's hard to stay on top of. For example, I had one item where it was a single unit and the listing got changed to a 10-pack, and I didn't notice, and I then sold 5 of it, and I just had to go to everyone I sold it to and go, look, I'm sorry, Amazon changed the listing. When I listed it as a 1-pack, I was just completely honest. I was like, you can keep the item and I'll refund you. It's difficult to stay on top of there, and I'm looking into this software to try and stay on top of that for me. But at the end of the day, that is maybe 2 products out of hundreds. So it's a lot of it. It does take time though. So I'm trying to find a solution to it. But yeah, Alice, it is a big problem. And descriptions as well, misleading. And I think this software notifies you when a description or any part of this, so image, description, whatever changes. So that's what I'm looking into, and I'll do a post about it. But yeah, it is a problem, and I think at the moment all you can do is really just check it and stay on top of it. But even then, you've got your European listings as well. And one issue people have as well is when they're listing something on the UK and then on Europe it's different. It might be like what, 1 pack in the UK and 3 pack in Europe. So I'll do a post on that, because there is a piece of software that Al Carton, I'm sure a lot of you know him, mentioned. So yeah. Matt asks, what stage are you at, Luke? Are you happy where you're at, and what's your next goal? Yeah, I'm happy where I'm at. So I'm still pretty new to selling. Probably mentioned it a few times now, but I did my first sale in end of August. So I don't know if you're here before, but I've currently been doing about, last couple of months, like January, Feb, I've done 11, 12k a month in sales. About 15% net margin, roughly. It's hard to say exactly. I'm pretty happy with that. I don't really have a particular goal where I want to be at the moment. It's just a case of gradually working towards starting to go to wholesale with Amazon, continuing to scale the OA, but working on wholesale as well, keeping just building it up, momentum, and developing other income streams. So I'm working on affiliate marketing stuff. I talked about that course I'm doing for affiliate marketing by Franklin Hatchett. Hopefully start building out some websites, doing some paid ads. That's just trying a few different things there. Looking at a few other business models going forward, but my goal, my overall goal really, I'd say short to medium termist. So when I graduate uni, so I'm second year now, next year I'm doing a year in America, and then I've got my third year, so I've got 2.5 years really. Once I've had those 2.5 years, I want to be at a stage where I don't need to get a job. That's my goal. So whether that be getting 15k a year from Amazon, 50k a year from Amazon, and then a couple of other income streams, then whatever that is, I just want to have a steady stream of income so that I don't need to get a job basically, and then go from there. It's hard because I'm at the stage now where I don't have specific goals. It's hard for me to have a specific goal because I don't know exactly what I want to do. I'm just developing the Amazon. I don't plan on going anywhere with Amazon. I plan on it being a long-term thing. At the moment it's OA now, but I plan on going wholesale and PL, and developing the affiliate side of stuff. I want to do like this kind of stuff that I'm doing now. I'm trying to develop kind of like a personal brand sort of thing. So I want to keep working on that. I enjoy sort of helping people, that sort of thing. I mean, these kind of calls and then helping people over PM, whatever, that kind of thing. And then balancing that with the enjoyment aspects. I mean, I'm at university, I'm enjoying it. Socialising, drinking, sports, whatever that is. Doing whatever with my mates, that kind of stuff. I think the thing is for me is just finding the balance between business, when I'm doing business, working hard on business, and then when I'm not doing business, then enjoying myself. I think the problem I'm having at the moment is it's merging a lot. So I'll be working on the business, but then also kind of procrastinating a bit, working at 50% efficiency instead of doing 90% business, getting done what I want to get done, and then going and enjoying myself. So I don't know if that's a great answer, but it's about as clear as I can be, because I don't have, and that's one problem at the moment, I don't have a clear goal. My goal, which I'm working on, I'm trying to work on defining some goals and how I'm going to achieve them. I think Curtis actually did a post on this, and yeah, I'm working on my goals, how I'm going to achieve them, that kind of thing. Like, I strongly believe in having goals, so it's kind of ironic, and then having those goals and an action plan to achieve those specific goals. So I am working on it, but for now it's mainly a case of just keeping at it. I think every day, if I can just, maybe not every day you're going to have the odd break, but if I can keep chipping at business and working towards it, I'll be happy. Yeah, that's it for me. It's just, I think the principle of the slight edge, it's kind of just doing something gradually every day, even if it's just an hour. If I've got other things to do, if I can just do an hour, like checking my pricing or doing whatever, like obviously I want to be doing more than that, but if I can just do something every day, I'll be happy. It's when I'm lazy or I procrastinate or whatever, then I'm not happy. So it's difficult to answer that question, and I hope that kind of gives you an answer. But yeah, it's just a case of being consistent, I guess, and then hoping I get to that stage after uni where I'm making enough money that I don't need to go and get a job if I don't want to. Welcome to Aaron and Matty who have just joined. Mo asks, well, he says, thanks Luke. He roughly around 200 a month before you make a decent profit. What do you mean 200 a month? Is that what you mean your expenses are? I'm not sure what you mean exactly there. Yeah, if anyone else has got any other questions, I don't know, Mo, if you want to clarify what you mean. Then yeah, I don't know if anyone else has got any questions. If not, probably look to end it soon. But yeah, I think, do you mean you've got to sell £200 before you make a profit? The thing is with expenses, Mo, is like everyone's different. Like if you're just starting out and you're not going to be using all these pieces of software, whereas someone who's doing a lot more volume than you, 200 in expenses. Yeah, it varies though, because like a lot of the expenses are linear. So if you're selling one unit, you're only going to pay the referral fee and the fulfillment fee on one unit, and you're only going to pay to ship in like one box. So those fees are linear, and so yeah, but fees like OAD, Buybot Pro, Repricer, whatever other software you're using, sourcing software, those stuff are like fixed. So to cover those, obviously you're going to have to make a certain amount of profit. And in that sense, then it depends what software you're using. If you're using £100 worth of software, then you've got to make £100 gross profit to cover those £100 expenses, if that makes sense. So it's a difficult one to answer. There's no make X money or invest X capital to make X amount. It's very much personal. You've got to know your expenses and be aware of them and make sure you're factoring in to your bottom line. Matt asks, have I been ungated in toys yet or waiting for auto-ungatings? Yep, been ungated in toys. It took about 2 months, but it was one of the first things I tried to do. I got ungated just in time for, I think, the 2nd August 3 for 2. So that was pretty cool timing. It was really frustrating not being able to sell some of those things. It was just a case, ungating, I literally just wholesaler, get the products, get the invoice, get the DOC, and then just kept sending it to Amazon. They were like, Amazon Seller Central kept saying, no, we're not accepting that. I kept trying. What worked was applying on the European marketplaces. So I wouldn't just apply to get ungated in the UK. I applied on France, Germany, Spain and Italy, and I actually got ungated in France for toys, and then that ungated me in the UK and other marketplaces as well. So for anyone who's trying to get ungated, just be persistent really. If they say no, try and follow it up with whatever they're addressing. If you get nowhere, just create a new case. Keep doing that. If you've genuinely got a DOC that's got what they want, an invoice that's got what they want, and the product, 10 units, whatever it is, you'll get ungated, but it just might take you some time. Auto-ungatings, yeah, I have some categories, auto-ungating, yeah. There's been a few, like, when I'm sourcing, if I'm restricted for a product, I'll always try and, if it's good, I'll try and get ungated. And there was one today, I can't remember what category it was, but I got auto-ungated in it. No, it was a brand actually. Yeah, it was a brand for a PS4 game, and I tried to sell it, gated, went to try and get an approval and got auto-approval. So, yeah, toys-wise, got ungated straight away because I think that's a big one. Well, as soon as I could. But some of them I don't bother with, and I just wait until I can get auto-ungated, especially brands. I mean, yeah, I hope that answers the question. How do you deal with penny unders? It depends. Yeah, there's a lot of factors, so depends how much stock they have. I mean, if they got one unit, I might just wait for them to sell out. If they've got a lot of stock, it's a lot harder, and then there's more factors at play. I've got to decide. I might try and use a repricer to track them to see how low the price they're going to is. So if I see someone penny underpricing me, I know there's one guy, I think it's like, you've probably seen him on listings, I know, Price Drop Ltd, I think he does it a lot. Penny underprice it, and I'll follow their price to see how low they go. I'll see what price it is. If I'm happy selling that price, I'll sell it there. Otherwise, I might wait. It really depends. It's hard to say exactly. Sometimes I might try and drive their price down. So if I can see that say I'm selling it, I want to sell it at 20 quid. They drive the price down to 14 before they then jump to 17 or whatever their repricer says. I might then go, okay, 14.50, and sit there, so then they sell out quicker. But that's difficult because then you've obviously got to, if they then bump the price back up, then you've got to also bump the price up as well. So that's easier with a repricer. I think it's hard to answer that because it really depends on the situation. There's so many factors at play. I guess a big one is stock, and then also how far they reprice down. But it is a difficult one. It's really frustrating when people are pennying under if you've got a lot of stock and they've got a lot of stock, especially if they're dropping the price a lot. A lot of the times, like if I think I can wait and sell it at a high price, I'll wait. But a lot of the time, I'll just drop the price with them and sell at that lower price. But it really does depend on the situation. Yeah, cheers Mo. Thanks for dropping by. I think a few people are leaving. I've got a few messages. So I think I'm going to wrap it up about there, unless anyone's got any other questions before I finish. I'll just give it like 30 seconds or so because there is a delay. Yeah, if no one's got any other questions, then we'll call it a night there because I think it's been about an hour or so now. Yeah, I think if you're on Price Drop Ltd, yeah, I think we're on about the same guy. He's really annoying. I'm not gonna lie. If you're in this group, can you please stop? I probably shouldn't say that, but yeah, it is annoying. And this thing is, I think it's situational. If you've got a repricer, you can, as I said, you can try and drive their price down to the point that they're like kind of lowest they're willing to go, and then just sit a bit above them. So you can, a lot of repricers allow you to sit X percentage above them. Yeah. Worst buy today. Well, I've had one item where I bought from Argos and they gave me the wrong item. It was like a fireman Sam type thing. I've actually got it here. I can go and grab it. Yeah, so I bought these. I think I bought about 10 of them. And the item that was advertised online was different to the one that Argos gave me, which is pretty, they often do that. And normally I noticed, but I didn't notice on this occasion. I sent the 10 units in, made a couple of sales, and luckily then it got flagged up that it was the wrong one. So then I refunded those 2 customers, withdrew the items, and I'm going to return them to Argos. But I think that's pretty bad. But in terms of price-wise loss, I've not had any major losses, but I think probably the worst was an item I bought for 15 quid from Smith's. I think it's like a motocross GP type game. 15 quid each, bought 7 or 8 of them. I was trying to get as much as I could. I would have bought 20 of them if I could. They were selling for 40 quid each, like £15, doing about 30 a month. And then as soon as I get them in, about, yeah, I'd say about 3 or 4 days later, didn't manage to sell any, and then Amazon jump on the listing, and Amazon would be going in and out of stock, so I should have probably just withdrawn, removed them and returned them, but I thought, no, I'll get them in. Amazon will be coming in and out of stock. 3 months later, I hadn't sold. any. Amazon finally got out of stock, but then there are a bunch of FBM sellers at about 20 quid, so I eventually just cut my loss and sold them at 20 quid each. So I mean, it's not that bad. I've maybe lost like £2 or £3 a unit on each of them. The other one would be, I think a lot of you probably recognise this. This was an item I bought a lot of in the Argos 3 for 2s. Probably recognise them. Again, another item that I thought was pretty awesome. I mean, I can't remember the exact margins on them, they're pretty nice. And now I've had my 7th item returned home because it's been ripped open the box, probably on Christmas. A lot of them not even used and just returned. So yeah, in that sense, that's pretty shit. But I'd say they're probably the worst because I've tried to sell a few on Facebook Marketplace, not sold any, and I've just got 7 of them sitting here now that I can't really use. I think they're about 20, 25 quid each. So yeah, that's a decent hit. But no, I think that's about it really. Yeah. What's your worst buy? Well, I think I might just call it there. Been going for about an hour and a quarter now. Cheers for turning up, guys. If any of you missed this, I'll stick it on YouTube and it'll be available as a replay. But thanks for coming out and asking your questions. And if you have any other questions, drop me a message. I'm going to be putting a few YouTube videos out, so if anyone's got any topics, it can be Amazon, affiliate, general business development or personal stuff, whatever, then let me know. But yeah, it was good to see you, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Cheers.